First 7.
You let me know when you're about to do Colorado, so we'll go to 1.
Stay wide, okay?
Ooh-wee.
All right, this is
Sports
blank.
ball.
Ready? 2,
Sports Ball Talk.
1, go black.
Dude Bros. Sports Ball Talk.
DC's the Dude Bros Podcast.
Stand by video.
All right. College football.
Back again, baby. You ready to go?
Hey, baby.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Week 0. We're in it, man. Biggest thing right now in my mind would be the Hawaii game. Obviously a story that's kind of gone out in the media already about it. Either one of y'all want to take the lead on that, or?
Well, biggest take for me is anybody can learn how to be a kicker. Just pick up YouTube.
I mean,
They're giving out scholarships for that. That's wild.
I mean, I've used YouTube to learn how to change my brakes and stuff like that, but kick a football?
Hey, but it worked, man. For him to have the mental resolve to get up there and kick one field goal to tie the game up and 1 to win it, that you can't learn from YouTube. So impressive on his part.
in one of our little videos to promo this, I put up the throwback game that was very, very reminiscent of it. App State versus Michigan. And I remember you felt the souls of some of those Michigan fans just kind of fall to the ground when that happened. As soon as they blocked that field goal and run back, I mean, just.
But leading up to that, they had fought their way back in and got into that position, what was it, 32-31, and they're finally like, okay, we're going to win this game, everything's fine. App State comes in and just snatches it right out from underneath them.
I need a hero.
That was good. Cool stuff. Now, because I didn't delve too deep, anytime I see something that comes up that much, I don't really delve too deep because I assume that I will be inundated with it so much, right? But what age was he when he started doing that, or decided he was going to learn football and all that? Because I kind of got the vibe that was like a later in life type thing, like high school age or something like that, but
I have to look it up to verify.
I don't want to.
The other character that I think really stood out from the game was obviously Hawaii's quarterback, literally hobbling on one foot.
Yeah. Hero.
Still making run plays, still getting first downs, everything in between.
I mean, it's reminiscent of the Marshall game, Byron, whole freaking offensive line running him up to the next play. He wasn't that, but that kid was hurt and he played. I hate to think of what they stuck in his ankle.
Well, it makes you wonder. Well, it makes you wonder about what's the rest of his career look like, because for a lot of people that could be not just a season ender, but that could be a career ender that he's going to constantly have to maintain.
Yeah, I've seen Varsity Blues. I mean,
and do you feel like even with all of
football movie,
do you think with every restriction that they've put in for like player safety recently, does it not seem to you, or maybe I'm just noticing it more, that more and more players are getting season-ending injuries that still come up regardless of the rules that they're still putting in place?
Well, you got to think the players themselves are getting larger and larger, so you have a heavier and heavier mass at faster speeds slamming into a heavier mass.
Right, and trying to get the angles less about the targeting and going lower. That's where you're getting like these ankle injuries and these leg injuries so much more.
well,
Or you could have just had a concussion.
Well, on your point, as far as like more safety gear and all that stuff, like rugby, like the injury rate in rugby football is much less than that of NFL American football. It's
As someone who played rugby, I can speak on that myself there.
well, it's because when you're not wearing pads, you're more inapt to protect your body, and
Well, not just that, it breaks down to the training for the sport itself, and so many of these football coaches, especially at the middle school, high school level in small town rural America, they're still stuck on an old school method of building up the body, and they're kind of focusing on these glamour muscles, which is why you're getting these injuries. If you're beefing up these few key muscles that are pulling these whole groups along. The small muscles that control the very fine, minute details, those are the ones that are not supporting exactly where you need to support, and then that's when you get tendon snapping, that's when you get ligaments tearing.
Well, I mentioned watching YouTube to fix my car earlier. I like tinkering, and I had a race car, all that stuff. You can't just build one part of the car, because if you've got a 1200 horsepower motor and some dinky 3-piece drive shaft, guess what you're not going to do? Get that power to the wheels, because you're going to rip that right in half. You get my analogy, though? Because you can't just do one part. You can't just be skip leg day. You can't do that.
Who are you noticing, which coaches and which staff are taking note of that and trying to make that transition away from it? Is there anybody that stands out when you think about that?
I actually will go back the University of South Florida. So this coach gets the whole program started out of a used trailer that is all that the school partitioned to them, and that served as his office, their locker room, all of that. Very obviously underfunded program, but he really focused on developing whole body kind of calisthenics was a good part of there. So what they ended up doing is he brought that program from being nothing, literally nothing, to getting where they're a top 25 team for the first time ever. And I remember seeing that, and that's the whole underdog story there. You had USF Bulls. They even had their kicker. His name was Delbert Alvarado, and I remember he came out with a rap song just because he had something to go off of the hype of all of them. It actually wasn't that bad. If it's not copyrighted or whatever, I'll try to work it in here. But
love a good underdog.
Yeah. It was.
Didn't they played Bama one of these recent years and gave them a hell of a run.
They've given some games. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
they might have beat Bama. Did they beat Bama?
So I put them as kind of like, we'll say, Troy 2008-9 era, where it's a team that genuinely can challenge top 25 teams, and so therefore, especially within its own state, those teams are going to make a concerted effort to not recognize them somewhat. I mean, for that Troy team right there, where you had Bear, what's his face out there? You remember he was beast out there.
Yeah, he was like a 6-year senior when we were there.
Right, and then Jarbo got in the mix too. When they pulled Jarbo from OK State, that was banging. I mean, that team right there was a legitimate contender, and I think they could have absolutely went toe to toe and probably defeated Alabama, Auburn, South Alabama. They definitely were the team for the whole state. If we had some sort of Alabama Cup or where they all played against their team.
There's a bunch of teams here.
So I've thought about that. These football states, that are known for having a good crop of all the way, down to the Pee Wee level. Texas, Florida, all these kind of things. I think those states should having the larger program, should have their own internal state kind of championship things, and that becomes its own. That's what the SEC actually is, and the SEC championship game is a small tournament between all these state champions that play each other.
Oh yeah, that would be legit.
It'd be fun.
Get to that, but it'd be reworking the entire system again.
Well, they do that every few years as it is anyway.
Which was interesting because I think we talked about what was the Oklahoma State and Iowa State game.
Right.
Where that really rewrote the history of how the college football playoff was going to come about, because that was OK State's best season by far. And they got robbed right there at the last second, and that's how Alabama and I believe LSU get the rematch, right?
Right.
And then from there on out, that's how you start the lobby for that playoff comes in, because clearly Oklahoma State had a right to be there. But the crowd is coming in and making such a big difference that I think they blew like a 17-point lead, 17 unanswered points to finish that one out. Fun to rewatch that one.
So why don't we, since this is the inaugural episode, let's kind of lean a little bit heavier into that, because I have something that I want to bitch about, or I want to bring attention to, that a very young man wrote an article a long time ago when he dreamed of growing up to become a sports writer, and it was called The Shame of College Football. And this young man recounted a certain season where the Auburn Tigers went undefeated and had what was unquestionably
Best
the
roster.
most solid backfield in the league, that had unquestionably the best crop of backfield contenders across the board. I mean, we had
Ronnie Brown.
we had Brown,
Cadillac
Williams. Let's go.
You had Jason Campbell as QB. You had Ben Aromashadu, Ben Abubanu. Like, literally, they could just throw the ball wherever they wanted, and they can run wherever they wanted. I remember being in the Iron Bowl, and it was my first one, and we were in the end zone that Cadillac Williams ran to on the opening kickoff.
Oh,
and
that was epic, I bet, dude.
You know, that might as well have been the, you know.
Your Super Bowl moment?
Yeah, the only other moment I can remember in history
Don't
of
say
just
it.
an
Don't say it.
No, I wasn't there for that. But it was that season, was the prayer. Well, no. Yeah, the tip drill. Georgia Auburn.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sitting there with Coach, who's a Georgia fan. We've got our significant others out there. And to watch that live and to have that visceral human experience, which is this is what we're living and dreaming to have. You want to go to a college football game. You don't want to go and just watch either A, your team blow somebody out, or B, you don't want to watch your team get beat on. You want to have that last second moment that you will remember forever. And I will never forget the rumble of 87,000 people on the edge of their seats, both ways. Because, I mean, even talking to Coach afterwards about it, he was like, I'm so glad I was here. I hate it,
Yeah.
but I'm glad I got to experience it.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's a real one. You hold on to that forever.
Yeah, but I understand completely you lobbying for universally recognized that Auburn team was the best that program will ever have, period.
I don't know about that. You never can predict the future all the way unless you're Barron Trump. But, funny.
What did this particular individual write in his article? What was his argument in the end of the day?
Just went through, we'll say, a bit of history, a bit of statistics, how this team got this bid and this here, and how it's all stacked up for these teams that traditionally have these media. It's just a damn travesty, shame of college football.
Yep.
It was not just that Auburn was so good. The SEC was so good that year,
True.
and then Auburn was just even a head above what was already heads and shoulders above literally everything else. LSU, that was when I first really started recognizing Trendon Holiday as their track star. This fast little dude, he's going to go to the Olympics and everything. And then I see this little sweep route where you see this little yellow helmet, and then it's like a cartoon.
Bye.
Yeah, just gone. And if they do not tackle him in 2.5 seconds,
Gone forever.
yeah. So you had this little speedster going on there. Arkansas, they had Felix Jones over there.
Oh,
Remember all
Cowboys.
that? Ingram. I mean, you just had all these combinations of people, and it was like the SEC had a solid backfield all across the board. And
It's like each team had their own superhero, essentially. And you
Right.
couldn't wait to watch these superheroes clash. And I feel like, and maybe this is my opinion, it's come to the point now where the field is so diluted. There's amazing talent on every side,
Right.
but because there's so many, it's hard to get the real stars that kind of pull away from everybody else that are so significantly, like I remember Leonard Fournette, and as an Auburn fan, tough for me. I mean, his highlights of bulldozing over Auburn defensive players has been played on loop for a decade now, it seems like. But it's hard to have somebody that just sticks out so much. You know, you referenced Vince Young earlier, and to rewatch him, like literally he's just running around people like they're going in slow motion.
Right.
Very similar in the Cam Newton stage when we got to have that too.
God, as much as Roll Tide to start off with that, but Cam Newton in college was, whether you love him, hate him, whatever, it was like watching a film. That guy was a freaking nature.
put it on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Worth
mean,
every penny.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to preach him up, but as far as college football and quarterbacks and single seasons go, that was a magical one. I mean, that ties into like Joe Burrow's freaking magical season in 2019.
Manziel, yeah.
I mean, it was just a show every time they were on TV. I mean, you had two of the best receivers still to this day in the NFL. Still they are the two highest paid receivers in the NFL right now. He was just tossing bombs to them all day. Post route. And if this one's not open, that one's going to be. And it was just,
It is what it is.
You know, those are just the magical seasons you hope you get to watch, but you hope it's your team. You know, it's
You know what? And I'm going to be a little hopeful and optimistic here. Maybe we're about to get that this season. You know, we're so early on. People haven't gotten to feel each other out. Let's revisit this here, week 2 or week 3. Who's really starting to step out and really show themselves a little bit?
well, I mean, you got a lot of question marks there. There's
Well, hold on. I want to, since you asked that question, you are hands down. I mean, you got Auburn on your shirt right there. You're repping. You are an obvious Auburn fan. You're gonna have an Auburn homer slant, no matter what. That's just gonna be the basis. What is your take on Auburn's particular future this year? Because they have had the worst track record they have had in the school's history. So, do you think they're about to transition out of that? Do you think they're about to make a championship run as the dark horse that nobody's really paying attention to right now? Or do you think they're still building and trying to get their shit together?
It remains to be seen. I mean, Hugh Freeze, there's been a lot of question marks as
Is
this
he frozen?
Let's get a positive win season. Let's get a 7 or 8 win season. I think those set the expectations low, and if they go above that, I'll be excited about it.
I think the first 4 games determine everything for them. You look at their whole schedule, what's coming down the pipeline. I think realistically, if they come out of this first 4-game stretch, they win. I think that there is 0 chance Auburn doesn't finish at least 8-4, and probably will finish much more and will be a dark horse contender. But I think that will be established very early season.
Who are you watching that's giving you those feelings, or is it just a offhand prediction?
You talking about players on the field?
Or you just think it's that time? You just think this is year 3. He's had the time to really try and cultivate whatever he's going to make out of this and recruit whoever he's going to recruit to actually do something. Because this is like a make-or-break season for him, in my mind.
So I think that some of the so if you want to take it from that angle, I think some of the coaching decisions that Hugh Freeze has made over the last few years have been smart coaching decisions in the long run in terms of choosing for some player development consistently, particularly when it comes to those, we'll say, not so glamorous positions that most people don't see out there. Auburn is consistently rotating in those players more than almost every other team out there. And that's really what makes the program kick, is when you are consistently taking 1 or 2 people out each time, everybody's fresh, but the rhythm's not upset because you have enough people on the same tier and the same routine that you can do that.
Yeah.
That'll give you that slight edge as you get into later quarters, that fourth quarter momentum when they're starting to drag. Maybe that gives you that little extra,
Or later in the season, too.
And then because he's been doing that, you have these younger players that have been getting more and more development. The only downside is now we're in the days of NIL, so you can develop a kid and then the kid's out of here.
Yep, unfortunately.
I think that stuff's going to change pretty soon. I think that there's going to be some more red tape on getting in or out. I think it should be narrowed down to a small little window.
I think there's going to be very simple rules put in place that I think if they go in just dummy-wise and just you're only allowed to transfer, once X amount of times, 2-3 times. You can only transfer in this window. I don't think kids should just be able to go take money here 1 year, go here, take the money the next year, go here. Because I'm getting better every year, so somebody's gonna pay more money for me down. I think something's to be said about loyalty. I think the teams that play longer together end up being better, and I just think that's proven. You can't. It's easy to plug and play. You would think so, but
I think that's a good point, and that ties into what GB was saying over here, and that's the fact that we're not seeing a lot of these superheroes, if you want to say these standout things. But that comes not just from having some raw freak who's so much above it. That comes from having a well-oiled machine that allows a peak elite athlete to excel.
Right.
If these guys always have the block, this lane's going to be open, then that allows him to flow this way. But if you have, that's a guard that I just got here 2 weeks ago, he's not going to have my back as much.
Right. Then anybody who's played sports knows camaraderie, being together. That's the unwritten rule. You can't have a bunch of number one egos. It's we're together. This is the goal. I got your back, you got my back. If you miss your block, I'm going to pick it up. Whatever.
Yeah, that's not even just contact sports or hardcore warrior sport. That's down to curling. That's down to the no reaction judo in Japan. That's whatever you want to go down to. That.
No, and that fits perfectly because I'm also thinking about a best example that's like the USA basketball team, especially after it got to the point where you're literally just picking and choosing the all-stars from every team, slam them together, and they go play, and they started getting their butts kicked. And so that's when you get the Redeem team coming with Kobe, and he literally goes in there, changes the whole mindset of that team, and they go out there and prove what USA can actually do. So it's hard to still get that, but if
I blame Space Jam for that. 100% blame Space Jam for that phenomenon. The lead up to that's causing the Kobe correction. I like that. The hashtag Kobe correction.
It's a good documentary too if you haven't seen it.
Space Jam?
No, it's the Redeem team.
It's true.
So I think you get LeBron in there too. All those younger guys. I say younger. They're in their 40s now.
Well, LeBron's been playing for 47 years now at this point.
At least like 25 or 30.
Oh,
for sure.
He's over 20 for sure.
Some phenom when I was in high school, right?
Well, he went from high school to.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like we're the same age.
So it sounds like there is a possibility if you can get a dynamic player on one of these college teams to get the egos out of there, even if it's a team that's been kind of mishmashed together, to still produce something quality before the end of the season. So let's watch out for that.
I think what you're saying is we might need, and sorry to go back once again to that same time frame, a Tim Tebow type character.
Yeah.
Somebody who's really going to come out there and be fully, I'm going to try to be as selfless as possible, and this is a team,
Yeah, I mean, he completely changed the way that those players practiced and trained, and I mean, he was in there, they like to joke about they're all out partying, Tim Tebow's in there cracking out his workouts no matter what, but eventually he starts getting those dynamic defensive, offensive players to go in there with him. Rewrites the entire Florida program too. But again, I don't think you'd get that with the NIL. I think those people still leave because, like you said, it comes down to loyalty, and it's not a moneymaker.
I mean, look at the kid from, I say kid, but the quarterback from Tennessee. The whole and it's kind of the exact opposite. He just didn't want to be there, apparently. He wanted to go back to California, and he took a lot less money to play quarterback for the school or the place he wanted to be. So, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of money in football. And I am a firm believer, if you sign a contract, you abide by that contract, and if not, you should pay some. There should be repercussions. You're a man. We made a deal. You signed the dotted line, like Micah Parsons right now. Micah Parsons is a big hubbub for the Cowboys. He hasn't been signed. Him and Jerry had a deal. The agent got involved. And then now it's big poo poo. But it's just
never heard of it.
The point is, if you're under contract, do your fucking job. And then we'll talk about it.
I don't get the ego, and I know they try to justify it at the end of the day, but I really don't like the egos that some of the people have and feel entitled to. Because at the end of the day, you're playing a game that you enjoy and that you love,
and you're getting paid for it.
Yeah, and you're getting paid to do it.
Right, and with
you're
all
to be part of the team.
Yeah,
they're counting on you.
But it also comes with the grooming that's happened up to that point, where they don't know a reality different than I'm the greatest. I deserve this money. I deserve to be wherever I'm going to make the most money. Well, and that's from the parents and the coaches chirping in their ears.
Well, I mean, this generation will fizzle out. I think the next crop coming up that's way has drastic different social values already being demonstrated. I think that there's a lot of hope down the line, but I think we are going to have just some knuckleheads from this group right now that we're going to be stuck with for a while.
Yeah.
Like, think back to your 80s, 90s, where you had this negative stigma at the showboats. Remember when the touchdown dances were a big deal and teams and players getting fined for it and all that?
They banned it. I mean, penalty. Yeah. It was automatic penalty for a couple years.
I don't think you get points now unless you like whip and name it. They don't go on the board until after you've put up your Instagram clip.
And it's funny how it's one way and then the other. It's like they literally turned it into a penalty if you even acted like you were celebrating in the end zone. There's 15 on the next kickoff, and now it's like who has the best dance? Oh, we plotted this one. I got everybody. Oh, let's do the bowling pins.
Right.
It is a fun one.
Did you
reminds me of oh God, one of the best football movie, Keanu, when they're
Replacements.
The Replacements.
Yes, man.
Solid.
It's
top
just
5 easily for
that
me.
whole. It's that kind of vibe, and I'm okay with that because I was always cool with them. If I just walked away from you and you fucking missed a block, you know what? Ha ha ha. That's part of the deal, man. If you lose, the victor gets a little bit of spoils, and that's just part of football. I'm gonna rub it in a little bit, sportsmanlike. I'm not gonna come over there and tell you, nothing too drastic, but they deserve to be able to be very happy that they scored. I guess we'll say.
So, I agree. 1, but not over the top, and 2, not every time. So, my middle school football coach actually. I remember he got on to me and 2 other players after we just had an epic play. We kicked off. I ran down the field. This boy, we'll call him Johnny, ran down the field too. Johnny hit a player right in the numbers right after he caught the ball. Ball pops up. I catch the ball. Another player on my team hits their other guy right here, and I basically walk into the end zone, right? We celebrate. Coach doesn't like us celebrating, and he says, act like you've scored a touchdown before. And that was it. That solidified that in my brain. All right, that bad. I not do this. I not make ass of self. I be professional. I score. I go back.
Do it again.
And I understand that mindset, and that's, like I said, that was kind of indoctrinated in me. But I will say, did either one of y'all see, on the subject of all these sports celebrations, the baseball celebration that kind of got banned, and has been really the only curb thing I've seen from it? So these 3 dudes, they get the baseball bat, and you know how you do the all up to the top. So they get to the top. The person who gets to the top immediately starts jacking it.
Oh no!
They all put their faces on there. And as soon as their faces go and they start like that, like the cameraman just jerks the camera up. There was no transition to another as soon as he realized. You just see him jerk the whole thing up to get him off of there.
Talking about act like you've been here before, watching some of these like the App State and Michigan game and watching them rush the field afterwards, totally justified. Amazing. Bring the field goal post down. Every week, somebody's rushing the field.
I was just about to say that, like Tennessee.
It could be like a top 25 team, and just because like another top 25 team in the history of their program beats another one, and they're like, oh, well, they were 18. We're going to bring the field goal post down.
That used to be once a season,
right?
If that.
Right.
If that.
I would say.
Not even per team, like per whole league,
Especially past 5 years. I'm very surprised if I don't see it once a week.
But yeah, that's to both your points, though. There's times for those celebrations. Right. There's times to just keep playing football. And, I'm okay with, like, the Colorado crap. They beat like last year or the year before, they beat Colorado State by a point or something, and they just rushed the field, and it was, oh, yeah, we come in and all that bullshit.
Sanders.
Yeah. But that's done. You do that at the end of the season when you've been an underdog all year.
When you championship game.
And it is game time. Yeah, it is fourth quarter, a minute left. There's 1 point, and little Hugo, who just got in because what's-his-face broke his leg, and this is his 3rd rep all year, but he's got to keep the sweeps. And, that's the shit you storm the field for, not, oh, we beat Alabama by a point, and they're actually ranked 20th, but, this is the first time we've done it in a couple years, so, oh, let's tear down our goalpost.
Some
right?
Bama fans salty. Go Vandy.
But it seemed like that post.
No, not negative. Now, hot take. Watch Vandy this year. Vandy has a good quarterback. That kid has got heart. He is willing to put his team on his back, and I have seen him fight, and he is if he can get a little bit of that camaraderie I'm talking about, and people that dig in, watch him. Now, if that doesn't happen, it'll just be Vandy, but if they can get some kind of following, and you know, the players get together and their fans get behind them. Man,
I think the fans have been waiting.
well,
They've been waiting a long time.
I think that's a hot one to watch this year.
Mark that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that quarterback. That kid's got heart.
But speaking of Vandy beating Alabama, though, so I feel like post-Saban, that first season, anytime there was a loss, regardless of the team, it's like the Christmas had come, and they were just like, we beat Bama finally. Like, how could you really sit there and try to claim that fame of that if Saban's not there?
But they tried to build it up as this villain.
That's for me. This is for me as an Auburn fan. I'm like, don't take pride in that.
That's the big bad guy.
Saban pulled that shoot just in the nick of time, boy. And I honestly think if and he did on purpose because he saw what was coming.
Right.
But if he had stayed, I believe that it would have tarnished his legacy.
100%.
If he stayed there even a year longer and had a poo-poo, you know, it would have been, why did we name the field after you? You know, it would have been all the crap. But he left when he was supposed to because he saw that, hey, rules are changing. I've got mine. I'm good. I'm going to go talk about it now. So, and I was good with that. But I just, as a Bama fan, you're like, I want Saban to coach until he's 102 and he's like sitting over there in his wheelchair.
No, so, look, one of the first conversations we met, actually, I did give you a prediction, and I said Nick Saban will die on the field. I didn't say he'd be a coach. You know, he might be a commentator. He might be awarding the trophy because he's the head of the Supreme Football God Association. You know, whatever it is. And then, but
I've definitely stolen that and reused it many times.
you feel free to. Feel free to.
My wife's an Alabama fan. It's always fun to watch the games. Because as an Auburn fan during the Saban era, which how incredible is it that we got to live through that?
Yeah.
Truly. I mean, even from my
gift.
perspective, that's something that will be very hard to duplicate in any situation going forward.
Yeah, nowadays,
Right.
this whole...
But as an Auburn fan, I'd watch my game, stress, nonstop stress, wondering why I do this to my life. Why do I let Auburn pick me up and let me down every single time? Except for 2013. We can talk about that another time. And then you watch the Alabama game, and I just have this feeling of being like, no matter what happens, they're going to pull this out. And it's frustrating for me because I'm watching my wife over here, she's so stressed, she's like trying to scroll on her phone so she doesn't watch, like, oh, we're only up by 3 touchdowns. I'm like, why are you worried? Why are you worried right now? Or if like the team scores first, like the first 5 minutes of the team they're playing, I'm like, they'll make adjustments, it's fine. And then lo and behold, end of the game comes, Alabama wins. But then after Saban leaves, then I'm sitting here watching, I'm like, anything can happen now. This is exciting. And then they lose, and I'm like, it's not the same anymore.
Well, the sad part for me as a football fan is it's no longer who's the best coach, who's the best team. It's how much did the team spend on their roster this year, and then you write the top 5, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, that's been baseball's bitching for decades.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe there's such a backlash already that they are quietly starting to preemptively make the adjustments that are going to be coming down the pipe when these certain contracts extend in like 27, for instance. I think it might be, hey, we need to establish a little more, we'll keep saying parity, but what we've really put out there is something that turned out to not be making everything so equal, so we're going to have to change things and maybe
back to those big schools.
Yeah.
Well, what it's going to end up is going to be some version of the NFL model. There's going to be a salary cap. There's going to be X amount of this. Only, there has to be. Because if not, football, it's just like when we were talking about wrestling, man. You can't just have a couple big names and that be it, because it's not good for football. Because, like talking about your Auburn, Jason Campbell, those boys, it's just, you can't have that happen. If there's teams that are competitive, you should be able to see them at least compete. It's not, we spent $55 million on our team this year. If we don't win the national championship, something's wrong. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's not good for football. You need to have real, actual competition, and that has to be because you can only spend this much money. Most schools can probably spend this much money, and it's not going to be that big of a deal. Go figure it out. and not this, hey, I paid my quarterback $9 million this year to come win me a championship. That's not fair to the other players either, because there's a guy on that team that's just happy to have a spot there and a room paid for.
Well,
so
I'm not necessarily saying that it needs to be a baseline cap across the board. I'm just saying that there needs to be restrictions on the fluidity of the transfers.
Absolutely.
I think there needs to be more binding contracts and say,
Yeah.
let's say if I join, I'm a new hot shot, and you see me as the go-to linebacker that's going to make your defense step up and just be nasty. I come there, do a year out, we have a very good run, who knows how far we go. I leave the next year. I think probably maybe even up to like half of what my contract goes back to the school because I forfeited whatever I agreed to.
Yep.
I don't think this hopping around shit goes.
Chicka, 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 yeah, fake ID, fake ID. Super bad this week.
We got any sports predictions for this weekend's games? Any underdog upsets? On Thursday, coming up, we have Boise State, University of South Florida. Boise State's, they're, I think, number 25. They're ranked up there. We just got done talking about USF. So I've been looking at a little bit of the spring footage and whatnot. I think there's an upset potential happening there. I will say that I think that their defense as a whole is really going to hold that team together. And there's a lot of, going back to that whole loyalty thing, that there's a good chain of people that have played together and are not just, oh, you're here this year, oh, you're here this year. Okay. Boise State
bereft Ashton Genty, and that's a big hole to fill.
So we roll into Friday. There's several different games. Auburn's playing Baylor.
Right.
Their opener coming out there. Any thoughts on that?
It all remains to be seen. Like I said, as an Auburn fan, I'm trying to come in nice and humble. I've eaten lots of humble pie the past 2 years. I just want to see an Auburn team that's playing together and running the schemes as Hugh Freeze wants it, and not constant errors.
Okay.
Hopefully at this point that they've polished that up a little bit so that you don't see the frustration from on the sideline knowing that he had it written up a certain way and they just couldn't execute it. So I'm hoping to see that come to fruition. I want to be excited about my Tigers this season. I hope it's a good game.
Yeah, to be fair, as a Bama fan watching, because I do still watch a lot of Auburn games, there were a lot of games that they could have won.
Right.
If they had done what they were told.
Right.
And I don't feel like coaching was their biggest problem last year. I feel like it was execution.
Exactly.
And to be fair, the teams that are great execute always. And, that we were touching on Saban and all that earlier.
Exactly.
So, the devil's in the details. You cannot screw. I mean, that's with a movie actor. That's with whatever. You have to do it just this way. And if you don't, you get the last couple seasons. So
I hope we see that. I'm not expecting Saban level excellence, but I want to see there's a plan that they have, they go out and execute it, and if the plan doesn't work, write it up for the next week. But if you can't execute the plan that you have, that's where I'm, as a fan, going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I don't feel like Hugh Freeze's coaching scheme or play calling has been the issue. I feel like it's him being able to coach those players to do what he needs them to do when they need him to do it.
Exactly.
There was a couple times they blew a play that was a wide open touchdown that would have won the game, so that's the. Even if you're writing a script and they were supposed to win and you have to do this, if you fuck that up, both siding it here.
Not wrong. I think probably the biggest game we have coming is going to be that Texas-Ohio State.
Very much so.
It's are we seeing a potential rematch being forecast for way later down the road?
That'd be exciting.
Right? That'd be cool.
Here's my thing. You've got the two highest paid rosters in college football playing each other week one. There's no, unless both teams just absolutely shit the bed, there's no scenario where this game on Saturday does not have major implications when the playoff gets here.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So This is a big one. And I think it's going to be a big damn game. I think it's going to be closer than people are expecting, and I'm expecting a lot of
people
points.
People are expecting the spread right now is Ohio State by 1.5 points.
Oh man, I haven't looked in a little. Okay,
Wow.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm only limited to my little circle. A lot of people seem to think that Ohio State is just gonna. They've got the best receiver in football, man.
I just look at the Vegas lines.
Yeah, no, I understand, but man, they have got a grown ass man at receiver, and all he's got to do is.
It's a primetime spot.
Yeah, that's going to be an awesome game.
This is how you want week 1 to start. I think we had a fun start with week 0. I can't wait for week 1 to fully get into full swing.
Right. That's the tightest game in terms of that. You got some other another good one coming up. We already promoted it a little bit. The LSU Clemson. That's number 9, number 4 right now. That spread on that is like 4 points, I believe. Spread on that's 4 points. Clemson by 4. Or
what do you think, though? Does Dabo get back into form? Because it seems like he always hangs around, man. And there at the end of the season, he's like, "You guys lost faith, and I told you." And does he get back the swagger, though? Because there for a while, I was like, Dabo's trying to pull off he's trying to build a legacy like Saban and a dynasty like Saban.
And the conversation was talking about him going and taking Saban's spot eventually, too, right?
Well, fun fact on that. If I can tangent for just a second.
Roll with it, buddy.
As far as Dabo's concerned, Clemson was so very concerned about Dabo leaving and going to Alabama when Saban left that it's written in his contract that if he did that, they had to pay him a multi-million-dollar settlement to go. So they very much game plan that because they were like, no, you say you stay here, you leave, you pay me money.
I mean, you got to do that these days.
Yeah, and well, that tangent back into the NIL thing. It's the same kind of deal. I feel like contracts should be like that. If you're going to screw me, you're going to pay me.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And I remember their contracts at one point, and this is, I'm sure, ancient data, but I remember them being those 1 and 2 spots in that 11 million-ish range there for a while, and one would inch out the other each season.
Yeah, but that goes into, there was about a 5-year period where it was the Alabama and Clemson show, and I mean you had Ohio State in there too, but it was
on
the Alabama-Georgia show. Sorry,
you're good. Just say on the subject of Alabama, there we got the Alabama-Florida State game. We promoted that a little bit.
Yeah.
Clearly, Alabama's the heavy favorite on that. I mean, they're ranked number 8. Florida State isn't ranked at all.
Yeah.
But fun fact, those are the most expensive tickets right now. So if you're trying to get last-minute tickets to a game, the cheapest you can get on them is like $280.
Wow.
Whereas, I mean, I can get tickets for $10 to the Arkansas game. Or something. It's like this big comparison there. So clearly, even though that's got a larger spread, it's got a lot of eyeballs on it, which I mean, both are big schools, both historic programs. I get it.
Well, I feel like Florida State is in a I won't say dire situation, but if they don't show out this year, there's going to be heads are going to roll, man. They've had, and to be fair, they lost their quarterback. Was it two years ago? And the whole, or was that last year? I don't remember. It kind of melds together anymore. But
right.
Quarterback went down. Travis Hunter, is that right?
Okay. I think that's right.
Anyway, and they had a big whole hubbub, and we got left out. Blah 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 blah. So I think that coach has absolutely a lot to prove, and I say that because they restructured his contract, a guaranteed contract, to put money back into the system to. Come on, do something, you know.
And that seems to be the trend more and more often, too, is that you get a new coach into the seat, you get maybe a season. Sometimes you get 2, and in Hugh Freeze's case, we're on year 3, where, I mean, I would call that a huge lifeline that in his case he's gotten. So to keep getting these new coaches getting recycled, you know, they called it the Saban effect whenever that went into place, and it's definitely affecting any program because just like the players, if you don't have the coach to be setting the tone for, I would say at least 4 years. I mean, you can see that when you have somebody at the freshman year to get them to that senior level to go promote them to the NFL. I mean, that's what you're supposed to be getting to. But if you're not getting the opportunity, program keeps getting rewritten, keeps cycling people out.
That's the good kind of group.
I would love to see FSU do well. I can remember back the beginning of the 2013 season, my grandfather was one of the first players for the FSU football team.
Really?
And he had made a prediction at the beginning of the season. He said, Auburn and FSU will play in the national championship this year. And I remember at the time, we're a couple of years post Cam Newton, very much struggle busing. We still got Gus, but this is when Gus is coming in with the hurry-up offense that before people have adjusted to it. And that's how you get the Nick Marshall versus Jameis Winston matchup there at the end. And he had predicted correctly. But, we don't like how that season ended. We got our little nugget says that from Auburn fans to get the tip drill and to get the kick six and everything in between. But we couldn't finish that season out. So I want good things for FSU. I want them to show up. I want them to give Alabama a game. Hell, I'd love if they'd win. No offense, but I want them to make it exciting at least. I want to see them going in a good direction. I want any program that's got a history like that to be taking the program in a good direction. Think about Texas a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely
Before Stark got there, yeah. They were, I get what you're saying.
So.
And I don't think it's good for football when programs like that, like if Alabama came out and scored 50 and they scored a freaking field goal, I don't think that's good for football.
No, it's not good for the fans. It's not good for any of that.
Well, here, let's do it like this. So the spread on that game is going to be Alabama by 13.5 points right now. Do you think that is covered?
Yeah, I think Bama covers that.
Bama covers it. You don't think Florida State cuts it any closer?
I'd love to see Florida State cut it. I want to see them cut it to 7.
I'd love to see that, and it'd be a competitive game.
Right.
I just feel like I watched them last season, and I don't think they brought in. They lost a lot of older players, so I mean they've got a younger team. I don't see it. And we have Ryan Williams. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's pretty good.
There's actually 2 boys out there that are pretty good.
Bernard, he's coming back.
I will say I'm inclined to go with Alabama will probably cover the spread, but I think it'll be tight. I don't think it'll be any larger of a blowout than that. I also wanted to say on Sunday we'll have another college football game coming out there, and that's you've probably heard a different term every now and then, but the Catholics versus the Convicts game. We're going to throw back to that. We got Miami, Notre Dame. That is actually the second most expensive game to get tickets last minute to. Yeah, they're at like $236, $237 for the cheaper end ones right there. Wow. And the spread on that is going to come down to one of your closer games with a 2.5 point spread.
Wow.
So that is the game to watch on Sundays, folks.
They did get them a new shiny quarterback in the offseason.
All right, so let's go with that. So the Notre Dame game, do you think, so right now, just to clarify, at time of this recording, spread is Notre Dame 2.5 points. You think they can cover that, or you think the Miami pulls the upset, or you think Miami just gets the under right there? What are we doing?
I think Notre Dame didn't lose a lot in the offseason. I think Notre Dame was pretty damn good last season, if I recall. Yeah. So, and being an SEC guy, I've seen a lot of Carson Beck. I do not believe in Carson Beck.
Oh,
I think they paid him a lot of money to come give them 8 wins this season, if they're lucky. That's my take on that. So, yeah, I think Notre Dame covers, and not only do I think they cover, I think they probably put 10 points on them.
Hold on a second. Are we saying Carson Beck, the crackhead from Georgia, is now the QB of Notre Dame?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I did not know
No,
that.
not Notre Dame. Miami.
Oh, Miami. Yeah, sorry. Miami.
Oh, that's totally fitting.
A lot of money involved in that, yeah.
Yeah, no, the Irish ain't bringing in a crackhead, because
But at the same time, watching him last year at Georgia to know he's at Miami, that's fitting. That's a fitting spot for him. But going back to that Convicts versus Catholic games, coming down in the end, does Miami play like they want to win? Now, do you fault the coaching choice there for from the 1988 game to go for 2 in that situation?
So
because you could be singing 2 different songs about that game.
You're right. You're very much right.
And it was literally a coin toss scenario. So I'd love to see that on Sunday and see if we come down to what's Miami really got.
Well, as Coach says, you got to want to win.
And we want it bad.
And we want it bad. But
Carson Beck. That's hilarious. Who's Georgia's at QB then? Fresh blood? Somebody who's backup?
Oh,
Gunnar Stockton.
Oh,
I have to
so
see it.
He basically broke every high school record
Oh,
in
yeah?
Georgia.
I never thought Carson Beck was.
No, I never liked him. I never
No.
thought he was that good. And he looks like Sid the
Alright.
Sloth to me
Hold on.
from Ice Age.
correction, as this just updated, and it literally just jumped by over $190.
Oh, dang.
To put it from third all the way up to number one. So Texas and Ohio State game, their ticket value, as we've been recording in the last hour, has almost doubled in price and is now $353 for the cheapest seat. This is the number one versus the number three, and the spread on that once again is Ohio State 1.5 points.
Wow.
So are we thinking that Texas comes and reps the SEC, brings us some love back? Are we thinking Ohio State with all them fancy Buckeyes stacked on all of their shiny helmets knocks us down?
I've been anxiously awaiting to see if Arch Manning is the real deal.
Is the real deal?
Yes, 100%. I got a couple little flashes of him last year, and I got to say, even though it was garbage time or whatever, the kid looks sharp, and he looks like he put on a little bit of muscle. I know his daddy and his uncle and his,
History there.
yeah, genes and genetics are real. If
Very much so.
if he can be some kind of version of Peyton and just also be able to run the way he does, if he stays healthy, I think Texas is deadly. And
Well, don't discount Eli. I mean, you got to think what he did for the program there.
you've
Ole
seen
Miss.
Eli run, right?
Yeah, but I'm
He
saying
looks like a baby giraffe.
shots fired.
So to my point, and I'm not. Eli's a very good quarterback. He's not a running quarterback. Neither was Peyton. So if he can get some legs under him and then have all of that brain to him, the sheriff, that man knew what you were going to do before you were going to do it, and he already called out of that play. There's a reason he was a sheriff. Peyton was just like Tom Brady. He made defenses pay for trying to make him fuck up. It was just, I saw that. You don't think I saw that, but watch this. Bam! If you get that and that kid's wheels, that's a deadly combo, man.
If Arch starts showing out, will you change that hat to I Believe in Arch hat?
Nope. This hat goes until Jerry Jones signs this hat. I will be rocking this hat.
Goals.
All right,
Straight up
Jerry.
goals.
Get this man a new hat.
But to answer your question, I feel like as SEC fans, you gotta pull SEC every time. I don't care what the spread is.
Yeah,
You gotta pull SEC.
I watched
It means more to us.
I mean, the wrong kid died. No, he said it with that inflection. I think Arch does have what it takes. I believe in Arch. And I think that not only does Texas beat the spread, so I think that they will beat Ohio State by a full touchdown.
Okay.
Nice.
So I'm going to say at least 6 points victory
Yeah,
by Texas.
I agree with that. I believe in Arch. I think he's going to do
So we got
well.
him to say it.
I think the kid's going to play well. If he plays as well as I think he can, Texas is deadly, man.
If he takes off, we will be selling that hat. So we want it to take off.
Side note, I also like the idea of the top 3 most expensive tickets for the week. I think that's a good
I
segment.
think that's a different kind of, just a slightly different
I
thing.
liked it. I like you plug that. What's the close? Let's close it up.
So we got all those knocked out. We honestly had about 2 separate points that I could edit into being the close on that. And I think that's the way to go unless we want to work with something else. Do we do the LSU Clemson ticket prices or spread on that?
I don't think we did the spread, but I don't think we did the ticket price.
I'll just redo the whole thing, and because I don't know exactly what's there. So that way
Okay.
it's all there for whatever. All right. So LSU Clemson. That's number 9 at number 4. Clemson is the 4-point favorite there. Now the ticket prices on that they've been jumping around, and there's not really any cheap tickets left. All the cheap seats are filled for this game to let you get a reflection of. I didn't say that. To let you get a reflection of which seats are there. Now, the seats that are still available there are some of the higher end seats at $310. But once again, none of these are what would fall into the cheap seat category, as those are completely sold out. And out of the programs that we talked about, they're the only ones that are still completely sold out. There's still a few cheap seats here, a few cheap seats here. Just the cheap seats have become the not so cheap seats. But on that note, did we say, or you want to say your predictions for that LSU Clemson? We still going to be the SEC homers?
I'm SEC all day. I don't care. Ride or die, baby.
So this is where we need to start keeping a spreadsheet tally.
Oh, yeah.
To keep the accuracy on there or whatever.
So, Texas versus Ohio State, I'm taking Texas. LSU versus Clemson, I'm taking LSU. Alabama versus FSU, unfortunately, I'm going to take Alabama, but I would love to see FSU pull that out.
Okay. You did Texas, Ohio State.
Clemson, you want to rattle yours off real quick?
Yeah.
And for shits, do Notre Dame, Miami too.
I got a good buddy, Notre Dame fan. I want him to start his season out right. I want to see Notre Dame win that game.
Okay.
Yeah. Miami will lose, and it'll be because of Carson Beck.
So I'm going to be in line with all of y'all except for the Notre Dame-Miami game. I think that there is a chance that Miami pulls the upset in this one here. I think that it will not be a close game if Notre Dame wins. I think Notre Dame is going to win by 10 points or more, or you will see the Miami team eke out a victory. My prediction. So we got Miami, Ohio at Wisconsin. We got Western Illinois at number 12 ranked Illinois. And then we got Northwestern at Tulane. All for $6 a ticket.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I remember as a Troy University graduate, we got in for free. And I think that they were still selling ticket prices for under $10. So I feel that pain. You want to get people in the stands. You want to try and get fans involved. I hate that. That's the state of the programs that they're at.
It's interesting to see that for the Illinois game because they're ranked like number 12 right now.
Right. Is it at Illinois?
Yeah, it's Western Illinois at Illinois. It's a home game, guaranteed win.
Right.
For potentially, if y'all put out enough, you could be a top 10 ranked team. You could have some momentum because of where you sit as being Illinois. You have a definite chance to get to the playoffs no matter what at this point, as long as you don't shoot yourself in the foot. But there's just
no support,
no fan momentum.
And that's what makes or break a game sometimes. I think we mentioned that earlier with the Oklahoma State-Iowa State game.
Right.
It was definitely the crowd that affected that.
I remember, because you were talking about old Sweeney cakes and whatnot. I remember him coming down the pipeline at Death Valley, and he was talking about how because they had already said that the Gamecocks area was like Death Valley Junior and all this, that he was, not going to be intimidated by it. I remember he's coming down and the camera literally shows him stopping because it was his first time being somewhere that loud, and I mean, I think right there, if they would have shown that on the Jumbotron,
they would have gone wild.
Yeah, the players would have seen that. The stands would have seen that. Yeah. The game's basically over. You just lost because that goes down to the finding the leader. That's the exact opposite. That's having your leader completely be like, all right, boys, and throw in the towel right there.
Leave your predictions below. Thanks for watching. Sports Ball Talk. Subscribe now. Like and share. Subscribe now. Sub now. Sports Ball Talk.